Hello guys, and welcome back to episode 19 of the Extended Pentagon Challenge. We are with FBC Melgar, or Football Club Melgar, in Peru. And before I run you through the transfers and the fixtures and the league table and everything else, you'll see this little flag up here. That's the flag of Nigeria. We're now actually the manager of Nigeria. The job came up after I think they were knocked out of the Cup of Nations, and so I took over after the Egypt game. There was actually two offers on the table. They didn't approach me. I actually applied for the jobs. The job of Nigeria. There was also the job of Ivory Coast, which I applied for, and they also wanted me, but I decided to go with Nigeria. And we've played actually 4 games or 3 games of two World Cup qualifiers and a friendly. And I'll just quickly run you through those. Actually, we actually won the first one against Ethiopia away by 4-0. Ahmed Musa, Mohamed Suleiman with 2. This guy I kind of called up out of nowhere. He's kind of placed for Joinville. He's done very well. Good stats as well. For a guy who got a lot of stick when they called him up, and Ogenyi Onazi also got himself on a score sheet. He also got himself sent off, which was not ideal. So in this group we were behind Congo. We actually lost the home leg against Congo with two games in. So it was vital that in the next game we did beat Congo. Because only the top team qualifies, and Suleiman got us off to a good start, and then Deli Bala scored an absolutely great goal. Actually, I actually watched these games, and Deli Bala scored a fantastic goal, kind of a shot from long range. It kind of chipped the keeper almost, one of those where it just loops underneath the bar, and it was a good win. But it was a good win because the Large got one back, but we held on. And pretty even game actually, so a good win for us, and now we are pretty much in control in the group with 2 qualifiers left against Burkina Faso and Ethiopia. We also got a friendly against Scotland to come. So guys, if I go back to Melgar, last time round, I think you'll remember, I think we lost the game. I was after that thinking, well, this is going to be interesting as well as very difficult, managing Melgar, and so I tried to address it as much as I could. We got rid of Jesus Valdez to Jose Galvez. Jose Galvez is the club. He just wasn't going to fit in, so we got rid of him. Carlo Uricaiga went. He's a good player, and I'll tell you why I let him go just after I show you the transfers actually. But yeah, we let him go. Emmanuel Garate, he went off on loan. William Pano, he was in my plans, but for 120k, I'll sell him on, and Alfonso Ugarte pick him up. And then the other big guy to leave was Pedrinho. He was I'd never really liked his stats. He's very highly rated. Cesar Vallejo picked him up. They're a good club in Peru actually, and so he's gone 110k I think it was in the end. So pretty good money. Get him back. Now we needed to obviously completely reinforce the team, I felt, and we started off with Pablo Viola. He's a Argentinian striker slash can play on the wings. He's got good finishing, not great pace, so his physical attributes are a bit disappointing, but he should be able to put the ball in the back of the net. He actually went through a huge drought, but he's 4.5 star rated. He will get better. I think he's a good buy generally for the future anyway. Then next up, Felipe Brito. He's Chilean, good player in my books. 13 finishing, composure 12, pace 14, off the ball 13. So he's a good signing for this level. He's also 4.5 star rated, so definitely a good signing in my book. We needed another left back, and I got him in the shape of Brian Riol. He came in from Juan Orique, and so he's got the pace certainly, because The thing I need to tell you after this is the tactics that I'm now using, uh, because the fullbacks don't maraud as much. It's probably good enough, kind of not needing the crossing, dribbling, or any finishing or anything like that. So yeah, so he comes in 3-star rated. Gerson Panduru, Peruvian striker, 3.5-star rated, but with decent stats, good pace, good composure, good off the ball, decent flair as well, dribbling, finishing. So he's, good package really overall. He came in for, I think it was 95k from Juan as well. So yeah, a good signing in my book. Next up, Luca Pontigo, coming in from I believe it was Palestino in Chile. Good player, 15 finishing, 13 composure, pace, off the ball. So again, almost carbon copies of one another, the players I've been getting. But I've been getting in loads of strikers, and you must be thinking, well, why on earth are you doing that? You play one up front, so that's the thing that actually has changed. So I'll cover that in a bit. Then a big sign in multiple ways. Number one, a lot of money, 235k, and also he's 2 meters tall, 2.01 meters tall. So he's around about 6'6", kind of Peter Crouch height. For a centre back, he's very highly rated. 2.5-star at the moment, but 5-star potential. With that kind of height, he could be an absolute monster. Centre back for years to come. So I brought him in. He's obviously had the odd game at the moment. He's playing all right actually. So he for me is a very good signing. And then Tweedledee Tweedledum, Wan Mayo, 2 meters tall, 2 Peter Crouches in defence. Basically, he's got huge heading, huge tackling. Huge jumping reach. So this guy's would be a heading monster if we get him on at the other end of the pitch, for corners and free kicks. I think he'd be an absolute monster. I'm not sure whether Wan Mayo and Jean-Pierre Sanchez would work together, simply because they're tall players, but obviously not. When you generally that tall, you don't have a lot of pace. So I think they'd work well with some of the centre backs we've already got, who are a bit shorter, got a bit more pace about them. And then Ray Alva, we were hurting for a kind of central midfielder, just someone that we needed to have about. I also wanted to make sure that he had some potential to grow into. So he's only 2-star rated, but he could grow up to be a 4.5-star rated player. So in my book, that's a really decent signing. He's actually done reasonably well when he's been called upon, had to fill in. So one of the biggest changes has been the tactics. We're now playing effectively a 4-1-2 3 with 2 variants of it, and I'm using them both. So I'm basically using the premise that if the team if the team I'm playing is rated below me in the league, or in terms of the positional, where we're predicted to finish, then I'll probably use the standard tactic against them, with some variation here and there. Counters really for the big boys, when we're playing the likes of Alianza Lima and Cesar Vallejo and those kind of teams who are expected to do very well, and the better teams in the league. Also the other thing is if I start standard and I go 2-0 up, then I'll switch to counter, pretty much. And depending on the game, I might switch to counter at half time, or win the last 10 minutes, or if we're well up, then I might just keep it on standard. So there's been a few variations. Sometimes obviously if I need a goal, then I'll switch. If I start with counter, or I'm on counter, then I'll switch back to standard to try and get that goal. We've still got Percy Pura home. That's not been used at all so far, but I've using this new tactic, and I think it's working quite well. The only difference between these two tactics is actually just the mentality. So there's no real different instructions. It's just simply the one we're trying to obviously soak up some pressure and counter attack, and the other one we're trying to control the game. So that's on control rather than attack, and I think that's a better balance, because I think the teams before that I've had have either been very good for the league, or let's say in the case of Rwanda, just grew into a very good side. But we had a lot of problems at Percy Pura with the tactics that we chose. That they tended to be a little bit too attacking at times, and sometimes that kind of dragged us down, so to speak. So we have, as we're moving along, we're having to amend our tactics to suit effectively the calibre of the team we are and the calibre of the opposition that we might play. So if I quickly run you through the fixtures, and we've had a fantastic start to the season. The tactics have been working fantastically. We started off, but before I cover that, actually, I'll cover the end of the season, because it's probably quite important to cover this, just so mentally you know how kind of this process has happened. So when you last let us off, we actually played Municipal, and we lost that game 2-0. We then got absolutely battered by Cesar Vallejo. This was still using the Percy Pura home tactic. And after that game, I actually thought, well, we've got to do something about this. So I started devising and looking at a free striker tactic, and this partly to also remove the need to play so wide, because I was noticing that when I look back through the Cesar Vallejo game, that we were losing the ball a lot in midfield, either from passes across, or from out wide into the centre. Also, there wasn't really too much protection in front of the players. But also, I think the other key thing was that because you've got one up front and the two wingers pushed out, it meant that in a new tactic you've got these three kind of false nines that are kind of not so far up the pitch, but are willing to actually put in some graft in there. So we lost 2-1, although I was okay, so it wasn't a great result. They were below us in the league, but when you've got new tactics, the team doesn't know them. And in fact, I'm still learning the tactics now. It's taken an awful long time to learn them. I think they completely go against the grain of how Melgar would normally play. Anyway, we followed up with to show that they were working. Sports Boys, not a great side. They actually, I think, either got relegated or they might still be in the league, but I can't really remember. But we demolished them 7-0 at their own backyard, and yeah, so an absolutely fantastic win for us. We then played Cristal at home and used the same kind of tactics against them. I think we used the counter version this time and won 1-0. So all's well. Alianza, we used again the counter tactic, and again it worked well. I'm not going to go into too much detail about these games because honestly, we've moved on from here. I don't know, when I rock we did lose 4-2. I think I started with the counter tactic and it just didn't work out. But anyway, that's by the by really. So we started off with a 9-2 victory against the FBC Aurora in our first friendly. Janino Panamericano, who's left the club, scored. Brito got a hat-trick, Gerson Panduro, Pedrino got 2, Eduardo Gallardo and Thiago getting the last as we romped home 9-2. Then we hosted Union Santa Fe of Argentina and won 2-0, 2 goals from Eduardo Gallardo in that game, sealing us the victory. Then up against away to Bolognese, we were 3-0 up in this game. Eduardo Gallardo, Thiago and Janino Panamericano getting the goals, and they did come back, but really we were very solid all game. Lawn tennis up next and a 4-0 win. Panamericano with 2, Paulo Guerrero own goal and Felipe Brito sealing the victory. And then at Sierros Arequipa, we beat them 5-0 with Jorge Bazan getting 2, Luca Pontiga getting 1, Pablo Viola and penalty from Danilo sealing things in the first half. So we opened up against Cristal, and it was a 3-2 victory, and I think I played counter and then switched to attack every time that kind of things went badly. And in fact we went 2-0 down in this game. Daniel Mohammed with 2 goals, one early and then one just after half time, and needed a reaction, so I put it on back onto the standard formation, and we romped back. Ray Alva getting a goal, Gerson Panduro, Luca Pontigo sealing the victory, and we to be honest, we deserved it, and a 3-2 victory kind of set us on our way and a good morale booster going into the next game. Next up was Alianza, a difficult game always. We played counter-attacking this time round. Didio Cawardio getting 2, and Musa Cawardio getting 1 as we lost the game. And again, I felt it was, the result was flattering for Alianza. We actually gave them a very good game, but in the end, if you lose 3-0, it's kind of difficult to argue that. But things would improve from there. Jose Galvez away, a very difficult game. They actually took a quick 2-0 lead through Jair Bayon, and then Gerson Pandura got one back, and then Luca Pontiga 3 minutes later equalised things up. Minzim Quina put Galvez back in the lead, but in the second half we pretty much dominated, and as you can see from the stats, we did dominate the game. Felipe Brito and Jean Kamahara with that goal that gave us the victory 17 minutes from time as we picked up the second victory of the season. Next up was a tidy win against Sport Huancayo, 1-0 victory by a goal from Gerson Panduro. Pretty tight, really, not a lot created. I think we were a better side, generally speaking. We certainly stopped them from really creating much, as we pretty much controlled the game. But 1-0 victory, I'll take that all day long. Nowadays, this is a different type of game than different type of leg of the challenge than Posipura and Kitchi and Royal Wando. We're looking to secure points. It's a very long season. We need to secure these points in whatever fashion we can. Universitario were up next, and this was a game in which I guess where we probably deserved a lot more. And we were playing in the National Stadium, the Stadio Monumental, and Juan Mayo put us in the lead with a good goal, and Carlos Flores equalised back for Universitario, 1-1 at half time, and then the game exploded into action in the last 20 minutes as Denilson put Universitario 1-0 up. I remember this game, I was just switching constantly between counter and attack, trying to obviously get back in it. Luca Pontiga then on 78th minute, straight up the other end in the field, Renato Chira scores, and then straight back down the other end, Pontiga makes it 3-3. A very entertaining affair. We deserved the points, all 3 of them, I think. We did pretty much give them a bit of a battering, but they seemed to pick us off at ease when they could, and a bit unlucky, but a point from Universitario is not bad at all, so we'll take that. Next up was Union Comercio, and 2 goals for us gave us the win. Pandura and Felipe Brito getting those in the first half, as we pretty much completely nullified them and dominated the game from start to finish. Possession and shots just in comparison tell you the whole story, as we won that game quite easily. Afonso Ugarte next. Difficult side actually. They're pretty highly rated. We started off with the counter attack, I believe, and Jorge Bazan got us an early goal. Or if we start off with a counter, I certainly changed the counter as soon as we got that early goal, and then Diego Virueta getting one back to make it 1-1 at half time. So I switched back to standard. Luca Pontiga getting that goal, put us 2-1 up, and then again brought back through Nix and Villaslada of Alfonso. And then Jean Kamahara popping up again with important goals, getting us the victory 30 minutes from time. Again, a game we dominated, probably a lot closer than it should have been. And we pick up the points anyway. Municipal next, and we were enjoying these 3-2 victories. They took an early lead through Andres Ayorave, and we equalised back through Gerson Panduro to make it 1-1. Municipal, I believe, going into this game were top of the league. Ayorave then made it 2-1 Pandura then made it 2-1, and then quickly Ayorave equalised things up. But Pandura sealed his hat trick and all 3 points were 15 minutes from time. With his third goal, and again a dominant performance. It's just a shame that we're not really or at least at this time I was thinking we're not being very clinical in the way we're doing things, but things would keep going well. Then 5-1 away to Universidad San Martin, a very good performance. We really absolutely stomped on them. We were 5-0 up at half time. 4-0 up at half time. Luca Pontigo, Jean-Pierre Sanchez, Felipe Brito, and Giancarlo Martinez own goal, giving us the 5 goals. Damian Lizillo getting one back for them. But it's such a strange game actually, where they actually had more shots than us. We were very clinical, and I remember saying before that we weren't clinical in this game. We were absolutely very clinical. Of the 6 shots that we had on target, 4 of them went in, and obviously the own goal doesn't count against that. But a great win, and exactly what we needed to keep us in this great form. UTC up next at home, and it was a tight in terms of the scoreline, not tight in terms of the game. We dominated them, just couldn't find the net more times than when Ray Alva stepped up on the 32nd minute with that goal, and a 1-0 win kept us going, and we followed up with another 1-0 win, and I was really enjoying these 1-0 wins actually. There's nothing better than a 1-0 win for a manager, because it shows that you're efficient enough to get that goal, but you're solid enough at the back to deny them the opportunities. And again, absolutely dominant performance. Pontigo with the goal early in the first half gave us the points. Then up came Cesar Vallejo, a difficult side, and I don't know how we lost this. Really bad luck. We really didn't deserve this. We were so dominant, just couldn't find the net. And then Juan Lojas turned up with 20 minutes to go and somehow stuns us with a goal, which was completely undeserved. Get completely against the run of play, and Cesar Vallejo, get away with the win, but I think morally we won that one anyway. Just look at the stats, and I think it'll tell you all the story of that game. Next up, we need to respond obviously from that loss, and we did. Inti Gas away from home, Gerson Panduro hat-trick, Felipe Brito brace, and Pablo Viola finishing off the scoring. 31 shots we had in that game, absolutely just an absolute barrage against Inti Gas. 21 on target. Although Lavera got a 6.4 rating, I think actually that's probably a bit harsh. I know he let in 6 goals, but when you've had 24 or 21 rather on target, that's probably not a bad ratio at the end of the day. But yeah, huge win, huge performance from us as we turn the screw really. Atletico Torino next, and another huge win against the newly promoted side. Gerson Panduro 2, Luca Pontigo, Felipe Brito, and Hugo Seminario getting the goals. They actually took the lead. Atletico Torino completely shot this. Eduardo Gallardo put it into his own net after 6 minutes, but we'd responded straight away. And Gerson Vasquez getting themselves sent off for Atletico Torino didn't help them out on the night at all, as we then went on to absolutely romp home with the victory. And then what I thought would be a very difficult game. I'm now basically treating home games as, generally speaking, maybe Alianza Lima not the only exception to this, but generally using the standard tactic, because I think now most teams will look at us and our form and probably play a bit more conservatively anyway. So 3-0 win. Pontigo, Thiago, and Braxton Leon own goal was enough, and again a game we dominated pretty much from start to finish. So guys, that means that today's live game is against Cristal. We already beat them in the away leg 3-2, although it was a very tough game and very close. If we just look at the league so far, you will see that we are top, and by a reasonably considerable margin. We've got 37 points from 15 played. Alianza have 29. They could go to 32 points if they win their game in hand, which would be a 5-point lead on Alianza, which would be fantastic. Just going through these, and I can see, because of the split, that actually Alianza, Municipal and Jose Galvez are all on our side of the split, or were last year anyway. It'd be Universitario would be the first team from the other side. Alfonso Ugarte actually are on our side, I do believe, if I remember rightly. They're on their side. Cristal, I think, are on our side.
Cienciano is definitely on their side. So as you can see, the better teams in our division are actually on our side. So what it says to me is if we can maintain this and then go through to the second phase on top and continue then through the second phase on top, then when we shouldn't have to face any of the top guys in this current league. It'd probably be Universitario who we'd face at this current point, but I don't really know the league that well. I remember last time asking or saying I didn't know how it works. I know now that the phase A and phase B, when you go into in the second group, they play each other. All the top two teams from both those like mini divisions, the split of 8, play each other in the final. Alianza won it last year. I think they beat. I can't quite remember. I think it was Cienciano. Yeah, they beat Cienciano in the L1. What I don't understand is Cesar Vallejo are obviously last year were definitely on our side. I think. No, they weren't. They were on the other side. So that makes some sense to me. Yeah, that makes sense to me because actually, Cienciano and Cesar Vallejo had the two good sides from the other side of the draw. So anyway, I think that's how it works. I'm not 100% sure. It's a bit confusing, I've got to admit. So hopefully we can just forget about it and do as well as we can. And hopefully, if we get to a final, hopefully we can turn up and win that. So, but yeah, going really well. As you can see, most goals scored, 40 goals, 18 goals conceded. Not the best, but also not terrible. There's probably a few teams better than us, but at the end of the day, I think it's more what I'm now doing with the tactics is instead of kind of a plug and play and see what kind of happens, I'm kind of reacting to the situation, the match, and using a lot more of the features that kind of the game was designed with, to kind of assess what I need to do before the game. So let's go to the players and how has everyone been performing, and I think it's fair to say that there's been a few standout performers. Gerson Panduro with 12 goals in basically 13 appearances has been really good signing for us. The Peruvian has done excelled really, and these front three are doing really well. If we actually pick them out just quickly, we can see that they've got so Luca Pontiga, who plays most games, got 10 in 15. Gerson Pandura 12 in 13, and they normally play with Felipe Brito, who's got 6 in 13. So not as good, but not too bad. Pablo Viola's gone through a bit of a barren spell, so's Yoel Orozco, but they're not playing a lot. As long as the three main guys keep banging them home, I won't be too disappointed. Danielino, we managed to convince him to stay for another season with us on loan from Corinthians, and he's certainly done a really good job so far with a 7.5 rating. Also Thiago, another Brazilian, this time owned by the club. 7.39 rating from midfield, and these guys are doing a stupendous job. So it's good to see that these guys are doing well. Hugo Seminario again convinced him to stay on loan. He could have been playing for Juan Auric, so why are they letting us kind of use their player? I guess they might have a better guy than him, but on paper, but he's performing admirably, and I'm just be afraid when he actually moves back to Juan Auric, because they're actually a good side. They're just not having the best of seasons. Garlado, again, a youngster who's doing a fantastic job, and that brings me back to one of the points actually, which is if we just quickly look at the ages, and you can see that there's Paulo de la Haza, who basically doesn't play, and then Balzan, who's 30, and Orozco, who's 30, but everyone else is below 30. And we've got a lot of players who play a lot actually, who he's Camahora is an important player to the team. Pierre Sanchez just bought him, he's important to the team. Alva's utility midfielder, he's going to play his fair share. Seminara's first choice right back. Frank Fidales actually hasn't played quite a lot, hasn't played much because I think we got better options. Garcia hasn't played. Danielino plays pretty much every time he's available, so does Gallardo. Viola, kind of an impact sub for striker, but he's not really done that well this season. And Arnold Bagazzo, obviously, first choice left back, can play all across that. So back to the tactics, and again, so just to show you, so 3-4-9s. So the idea is that they kind of move into positions to allow for space to be created, but they also help out in the crucial area where we were losing a lot of balls before. Two central midfielders who kind of are there to provide the link up and passing to these guys to create opportunities. Danilino, he'll although it's his defensive duty, he will obviously still provide those key passes, but his primary role is to just sit in front of those two centre backs and to make sure they aren't exposed. And the fullbacks are there, they're on support, but their main job is obviously to stop the opposition from breaking us down. So so far it's worked quite well. So I think there's nothing left to do but to move on to the actual live game for today, which is Cristal. And you can see we've got a really difficult game up against Alianza to come. If I just quickly show you actually that we've been doing the tactics training for so long, and still here we go. Tactics training, it's only just now beginning to come up to speed. If you can see, actually, it's quite obvious the mentality is one of the areas which is obviously they're not picking up, and that's probably because Melgar are used to playing in quite either attacking or defensive or counter-attacking style. That you can see counter-attacking is slightly higher, and that's because they're more used to that mentality. They're just not used to playing a style of football which is tries to control the game, control possession, and so we're still kind of battling through that. So I even expect the performances to potentially improve in terms of and some of the mistakes that perhaps have been apparent to slowly go. And then once I've done that, then I'm looking to actually put it onto defensive positioning, just to make everything so solid that we hopefully do not suffer many goals. And let's do a little pick, and Danilino comes in, Kamahara, Sanchez and Diandaras. Yep, that looks pretty good. Viola's playing, so who's out? It'd be Panduro. He's 87. Okay, I'm pretty happy to give the guy a game. Do we go standard? Yeah, we're at home. It's they're not. They're probably 6th or 7th rated team in the league, so I think we can go standard on that one. And let's just do the team talk quickly, and let's move for. Oh no! Oh, done it again. That's so classic. I do that every time. And pitch. No highlights. There's normally an opening highlight, but not this time. So still 0-0. The first highlight: Seminario to Brito. Brito to Bagazzo. Bagazzo doesn't lose the ball. What did well there? Pontigo, brought down. Surprised that's not anymore. But Noronha, they have a chance to go. And Science has somehow been put through. And a good save from Azurin to deny Cristal the opener. And poor defending there. They kind of got in each other's way. Let the ball bounce. As a centre back, everyone's taught they never let the ball bounce. And mistake there. Noguera on the ball, Balbuena, and that's the end of that highlight. So Cristal almost opening the scoring, and Seminari's taking a knock, which is disappointing. Danilino, long ball to Pontigo, but that's lost, and Pontigo should be in here. Pontigo shoots and scores. Luca Pontigo puts Melgar 1-0 up, as Melgar now move 10 points clear in the league, and it's looking very good. Do I bring off Seminario? But let's see what the response is from Cenciano. Noronha, Science loses the ball to Seminario. Seminario back to Sanchez. Sanchez to Diandaras. Begasso. Begasso to Viola. Viola down the wing. Loses the ball, and this should be a free kick into the box. Bagazzo with the delivery, and that's not gonna harm anyone. as Flores picks that up. And we're almost at the end of the half, and the ball gets kicked away to Nogueira, and it's Diandares to Begazo. Diandares, Kamahara, the youngster having a good season this year. Begazo picks it back up, looking for the pass. Diandares, Sanchez finds Danilino to Brito with the ball. Pontigo, Viola puts it wide. That should have been probably the second. They both kind of were in each other's space, but somehow they found themselves, or he found himself with an opportunity there, Viola, and he probably should have done better. So I'm actually thinking whether bring off Viola, maybe switch to counter. Yeah, let's give it 15 minutes of the first half, and then we'll think about it if nothing happens. Yeah, so let's bring him off. I don't think he's actually having a poor game, but I thought he's done alright. And we kick off again in the second half, and Zapata on the ball, but that's the end of that half, that highlight. So I said 15 minutes, and just before 15 minutes, Flores to Flores, Balbuena, Noronha. Flores picks it up, down the wing. This is dangerous. Noronha inside Zagara. Good save from Mazurin, and it's time to go counter, I think. Zapata with the ball into the box. Header! Keeper saves. Oh, that was a good opportunity there. And I think that was the right move here. Is there anyone that can come on for Seminario? Not really. There's no fullbacks on the bench. Might be a good idea to bring on a Ray Alva or Eduardo Gallardo. Now Ray Alva's got the got better condition. So let's bring Ray Alva on, just to solidify a little bit. And next highlights: Seminario, Brito, Kamahara, Danilino, Begazo. Seminario loses out, but Danilino picks it back up. Alva, Pontigo, oh, he kind of turned on it and just scuffed it really to the goalkeeper, and nothing doing. And Ray Alva's got an injury already. He's at 83. Let's bring on Juan Mayo. It's a bit risky because there's two giants in the back, but they're going to be lobbing balls into the box, aren't they? So having two guys with 6'6" will help. Seminario into Flores. Half a minute to go in this game, and Melgar could pick up another victory. And Mohamed with the ball somehow finds Noronha. Zegara, Noronha, Campos out wide. Flores into the box. Noronha, Mohamed, he scored, but he must be offside. He must be offside. He was about 2 yards offside. And that'll do nicely if that's the end. And it is. Melgar win, a bit of a fright at the end, but in the end it was enough from the boys. 1-0, I'll take that all day long. And I thought we played well, actually. You know, didn't give them much of a sniff. I mean, goalkeeper actually did well. I'm going to leave it actually there because they're beginning to react negatively to the comments. So, yeah, and we're now 10 points clear. That's really, really good. You know, I think these tactics are working quite well. You know, get in front and then at the right time just switch to counter, and hopefully you can hang on and pick them off, or potentially pick them off from a counter attack. I mean, to be fair to them, they probably, if that guy holds his run, they probably get the equaliser late on, which would have been really disappointing. So other results, and Jose Galvez won 4-0 actually, and even with the 4-0 win, they're still 10 points behind. So we're doing really well this season so far. So we'll see how things go. What I'll probably do actually, I'll probably come back at the end of the first phase, and I'll probably show the Inti Gas game, just simply because it's such a long season, and I think it would be kind of stupid if I came back a little, just after after the second phase and be done, or at the start of the second phase, I guess. obviously, at that point you'll know it will be the start of the second phase anyway. But I think it's probably better to come back at the end. So while we're in Peru, I think we'll be doing each season kind of 3 parts, which will be kind of start of the first phase, or no, middle of the first phase, end of the first phase, and then probably the end of the second phase or the final if we just are lucky enough to make it. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. That was, I believe, episode 19. So catch me for episode 20, where we'll still be in Peru with FBC Melgar and with Nigeria, as well as we try to guide. Actually, just to give you a little talk, actually, with Nigeria before I leave you. If I go to the fixtures to let you know, so what we're doing, the Cup of Nations is gone. So the idea is obviously to qualify for the World Cup. This is not the final stage of the World Cup. There's actually a third round where all the better teams kind of, I think, are split into 2 groups. So your Morocco's and Ivory Coast's and Ghana's and those kind of teams, I'm presuming, will then go into the next round. And so that'll be a tough test, actually. I think we don't have any competition for 2022 yet because we're not through to the next round yet. But so maybe at one point I'll also show you a live comm of Nigeria. If I get to the World Cup, which actually, if I go here and I go World Cup 2022, how do I? Just wanted to go to the World Cup. No, that's difficult. 2022 we know is in Qatar anyway. So there we go. Yeah, it's in Qatar. Qatar and Japan are the only qualifiers. Anyway, if we get to the World Cup, I am going to do a special episode where I show you the whole tournament during the summer, and So the idea is if we qualify, then you'll get that as well. But So anyway, that's the end of the episode, and thank you very much for tuning in. This was episode 19. Catch me for episode 20, and I am out. I'll see you in the next episode.